Do you love going to the charity shop? Well, if you do, this is the video for you. And while we're at it, why don't you consider subscribing to my channel? All you need to do is to hit the big red button that says subscribe, and that means that next time you open the YouTube app on your phone, your laptop or your computer, you will have one of my videos waiting for you. So in this video, I'm going to take you down to the coastal town of Hythe here in Kent, which is between Folkestone and Dungeness. So it was a bit of a typical autumnal day when we went down. I went down with friends to visit Hythe, but I think it's got that great combination of being a row of charity shops in one place. Hythe is a very pretty market town with, I think we counted just 2 shops which were, chain stores there. I think it was W.H. Smith and Costa Coffee. Every other one of the shops was either an independent or somewhere to eat. And on the subject of talking about eating, I can highly recommend, was it the Bay Leaf Cafe? I'll have to try and remember. Or Nutmeg, that one, I knew it was something spice related. The Nutmeg Cafe, we went there for lunch, and last summer, I went out with the same girlfriends to do the same trip, and we actually had tea and cake in the afternoon in their courtyard garden. So come along with me and explore the shops in Hythe, and don't forget to watch on to the end of the video when I'll share my thrift tour with you, which does include some other pieces which weren't actually bought in Hythe, but I thought you might like to see what you can find in the charity shops that's got a flower arranging twist to it. Welcome to Hythe on the South Kent coast. As you can see, the town is quiet because it's been chucking it down with rain. I know Hythe quite well, having visited it about 3 times over the last year, but whenever I visit a new town, I always Google where are the nearest charity shops to me, and once you open the Maps app on your phone, you can take a guided tour around all the charity shops so you don't miss out on anything. Rather conveniently, all the charity shops in Hythe are located on the High Street, which is a narrow pedestrianised street, and there are just so many other lovely independent shops and places to eat and drink that it's well worth a day out. When I visited, we paid for parking for 4 hours in one of the council-owned car parks, and then we did actually take the 2 hours free at Waitrose because we had some more shopping to do. This footage here is from the Pilgrim's Hospice, and we've been noticing a lot of this amber glassware. It was obviously in fashion, I'm guessing, about 70 years ago, and presumably the previous owners have now passed away and their families have donated it. As a flower arranging fan, I'm always on the lookout for containers that I could add flowers to. So here is a jelly mould. I couldn't put flowers in that easily, but it does seem to be one of the things that you do find quite often in the charity shops near me. And then it's always a little bit of a walk down memory lane. The sign saying Mum's Kitchens and those little storage pots there remind me of a very similar design that my mum had from Hornsey Pottery. The good thing about shopping with friends is that it means that you take your time and you do actually scan from the top shelf right down to the bottom. And sometimes you won't find anything that interests you, but you may well find that something is there that interests a friend, and while they're queuing up to pay, it gives you another opportunity to scan the shelves before you leave. I'm looking out for some small blue plates that I can add to my plate wreath, which I'm going to refresh, and luckily enough, one of my friends pointed out this little dish here. So this was one of several that actually came home with me today. Also caught my eye was this little bit of, is it milk glass? A soap dish from Avon. And I like the fact you could admire things without necessarily wanting to buy them and bring them home. So I'm always attracted to a little bit of blue and white. So I like the shape of these ginger jars. Other than having them as decoration, they don't really appeal to me though, so it's another one of those items that I like to say hello to at the charity shop, but I'm quite happy to leave it behind for somebody else. Now this crockery set here, it falls in that category. I was quite intrigued by the sort of very graphic pattern there, the squares and the circles, the black and gold and simplicity. So I admired it, but walked away. And you see what I mean about that amber glass? There's more and more of it. All the charity shops I visit usually just have 2 or 3 shelves of bric-a-brac. I'm not in the market for clothes. I've got plenty of those, so I always walk straight to the back of the shop and see what's there. And again, I'm quite intrigued by the swan. We have a running joke about swans with the girlfriends I do go to the charity shop with, so I was happy to admire it and put it back. My eye was drawn to this plate. It's sort of in the style of the Asiatic pheasant that I've got several pieces of in the red and the blue, but it obviously is a different pattern. This one says Sligo, which is an area of Ireland. And then off to the side, caught my eye, the plate here for devilled eggs. Now, is this white glass or is all white glass milk glass? Perhaps if you know the answer to that, you could let me know in the comments. So it had a lovely little green trim around it. But again, I admired it and put it back because I don't have a use for it at home. Now, Pyrex here at £3.29 each. It seems to be very popular at the moment, even the very plain dishes. But I know the patterned ones do fetch quite high prices. And Christmas is coming around the corner. I do like to have my morning cup of tea out of a seasonal teacup. This is a cup and saucer from Ainsley, but priced at £14.99, which I thought was very expensive. And then one last scan along the shelves before we leave. Can you see anything that takes your eye? You'll have to let me know in the comments, and I shall keep an eye out for it next time. And don't forget to look in the windows of the shops that you visit. So catching our eye here is the dressing table set. So the friend I was with had found a magazine article a few months ago saying that these trays here were quite handy for sandwiches and buffet tables. So looking at Christmassy things, I like to look out for things a little bit unusual. And then as we scan down the shelves here, there's quite a collection of Wade pottery. I think these are for candles, but I can't quite work them out because the candle holes around the edge are placed at an angle, so the candles would be slanted and they would therefore drip. I do see this leaf shape quite often in the charity shop, and then those little, like the log, it's almost like a straight posy ring bowl. So that one was priced at £2.50. And then there's a shaped little log there. Sometimes you get them with the figurines on the side. And across to the side, this little house has caught my eye. Perhaps it would be lovely as part of a Christmas village. So that is £2, and it's come from a pottery in Devonshire, Devon. Scanning down the shelves, my eyes caught that sort of banana-shaped bowl. It's sort of a modern equivalent of a windowsill vase. And there was a set that looked like oven to tableware. Oh, here it is. And I turn it over, and it's come from Germany. And you know what I said about re-scanning the shelves when your friend was at the till? That's exactly what I did here with a lovely piece of Davison glass. This is a glass flower block, £2.50, and apparently it was made in every colour except red, obviously. But I don't quite know what that obviously mentioned on the website means. Perhaps you can enlighten me in the comments. This is some footage, not from a charity shop, but from a lovely shop selling a mix of new items and vintage items. Marvellous display there of Carlton ware and vintage teacups and saucers. And from memory, I think this next charity shop is Demelza House. They've had a little bit of a turnaround since last I visited here. And if you are interested in following along with my thrift haul videos, I do have a separate playlist, which I'll link in the notes underneath this video. So I told you we always had a little bit of a giggle about swans and the ugly vases, and here we have another example to add to our collection. What do you reckon? Would you have bought that pair of vases? I'm always attracted to a little bit of glassware too. This lovely chunk of glass was so beautiful to hold in the hand. I guess it was either a trinket bowl or something to put candles in. And sometimes you do find real true vintage items. This is a little sort of dustpan and brush for crumbs on your table. It did say on the label that the brush was missing. I quite liked the cake stand and the tongs as well. Charity shops are a great place to look out for Christmas decorations too, either things to use as is or to craft with. So this little door wreath caught my eye, and if you were in the market for doing some crafts with jingle bells, it's a really cost-effective way of buying some. I think each of the rings was £2 or £2.50, something like that. We got caught in the rain showers quite a bit, but luckily, because the charity shops were so close together, we were able to dart between them without getting too wet. Now, one of the favourite shops we like visiting, I think, is Cats Protection League. I do find that the animal charities do, by coincidence, seem to have some of the nicest finds that I've come across. And this little covered vegetable dish caught my eye. As I remove the lid there, let's check out the back stamp. And it does say on the back that this pattern is called Medway by Alfred Meakin. So Medway is a local authority area here in Kent, named after the River Medway. So it's got a nice local theme to it. I quite like the pattern here, and I don't immediately know what it's called. It just says Made in England at the bottom. So if you recognise that pattern, do let me know. I've joined my friends at the till here. They've asked to look at a couple of items in the lock display cabinet. So these are a pair of Silvac jugs, although it says Silvac on the price ticket. It doesn't actually say Silvac on the base of the jugs. So what do you think? Silvac or not? Let me know in the comments. And my eye was taken by this little Art Deco milk jug. Pretty to look at, but I don't want it. It's going to go back on the shelf. And something else that's caught my eye is this German plate. I'm going to have a collection of plates up on the wall at home, so I'm having quite fun choosing things I wouldn't normally buy. And look, another flower frog. This one is probably had been designed to fit inside something, something like a sugar bowl. It would have come with a bottom, but you can use them independently at the bottom of a normal vase. I was quite intrigued by this container here, and I turn it over. You can see that it's come from France. It's got a French website there, and I'm guessing it's been specially designed for a hand-tied bouquet just under the wrapping, and plop the bouquet into the container. And we're used to seeing a lot of these little rose bowls in the charity shops I visit. I quite like the little foot detail there. And the little metal grid. It looks like it's never been used. After the Cats Protection League, the next shop and the last in the row is the Lord Whiskey charity. I think they're an animal rescue charity. So taking the opportunity of having a good old look in the shop window before we go in. This shop is always jam-packed, so my eye has been drawn to the blue and white plates here. So I did buy those. They'll be great for my plate wreath. It's a matter of stepping very carefully between the stacked tables, and as it had been raining so heavily, there was newspaper that had been put out on the floor too. So this charity shop only takes cash, so if you are going to visit, make sure you have got cash with you. There's so many intriguing things to look at. Let me know in the comments whether anything is catching your eye. Look, a pair of Dartington stemless glasses, £10 for the pair. I bought a pair first time we visited Hythe last summer, and they were 25p each, I think. was one of my best bargains. Lots of blue and white crockery there. And at £7.99, quite pricey this shop. I guess you win some and you lose some. Sometimes you get a deal and sometimes you don't. A really lovely back stamp there. It says Middleport Pottery, which is the same as Burslem and the Burley Pottery. So if you're interested in finding out more about that pottery, don't forget to check out the video that I filmed there earlier this year when we visited the Wedgwood factory at the same time. Now this is a really handy container if you want to go foam free. Just crunch up some chicken wire. It'll be perfect for all sorts of arrangements. Let's scan around the shop. You could spend absolutely ages here. A glass ashtray. Of course, these days nobody smokes. Again, that would make a good bowl for nibbles. Perhaps even with chicken wire in to arrange your flowers in. This little green glass bowl reminds me of having tinned peaches at my granny's house. And here's a lovely little cup too. That look 1920s to you? I just cannot resist a white jug, although I did manage to resist this one, but it certainly took my eye. An absolute classic, would suit any kinds of flowers. I'm starting to see more and more of these little baskets in the charity shop. This one is £1.50. I think they are by Govenware, something like that. I've got a couple of them at home. And here's some more amber glassware. So this time it's a posy ring, so really handy for your short-stemmed flowers, perhaps like primroses, where the whole flower would balance on the rim of the container. I picked up this glass candlestick holder for £2. It's made in France. I'd spotted one early in the day in the locked cabinet of another charity shop, and I think it was £6.50, or perhaps that was £6.50 for the pair. Can't quite remember. It's all part of the fun and games of going to the charity shop and playing mix and match, trying to remember where the pairs are. A lovely back stamp here from Wood & Sons. That's the end of my shopping in Hythe, but stay on to the end of the video and I'll share my haul with you. So this is the plate that I picked up in the first shop that I visited. So that was a bargain at £1. So that's going to look really great on my revamped plate wreath. And then these lovely little, much sharper blue and white dishes. There's no mark on this. I think I paid £1.50 for it, and perhaps £1.50 for the pair of these. The back stamp on these two tiny plates says Grimwade, Staffordshire, England. And I wonder whether you can immediately recognise the maker here. This is a tiny dish made by Spode, which I bought for £1.50. I was worried that the first lot of plates I bought for my plate wreath were going to be too large. Slightly worried now that these ones are going to be too small. That would be a challenge for later on. So my last little Spode dish from the botanical range, and that was also £1.50. And of course I couldn't go home without another Father Christmas mug. It's got a little chip in it and I'm not going to be drinking out of my mug. I'm going to use it for general decoration purposes. I might put a mini Christmas tree in it, or perhaps a spring flowering bulb, just like this that I spotted at our local antiques market. You heard me say earlier in the video that I did like a chunk of glass, and this caught my eye in the first charity shop we visited. Quite a weighty tome. It cost me £3. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. Perhaps some weightlifting. I'd probably be using it as a pedestal, put some flowers on the top in a container, or perhaps even just have it as an objet d'art. And I've bought myself some more Christmas trimmings. I think this little swag was £1.50. I could easily just lie it on a surface and my decorations would be done. But what I think I'm going to do is to pull the whole piece apart, and I'll use it to my next meeting with Zoom Flower Club. And if you'd like to know more about Zoom Flower Club and how you can access it for free, make sure you watch on to the end of the video. And I've bought myself a shell at £4. I've been looking for a shell container for my Julie and Julia project. I don't know whether you've been following along as I try to make all 86 arrangements in Julia Clement's book, Fun with Flowers. I've bought myself a ceramic shell for about 50p or £1 at a clearance in a charity shop. And this one is going to be oh so much better. So I could easily put a pin holder in the bottom and use that to arrange flowers. And then the ceramic shell I'll pass back to the charity shop. Don't you just love unwrapping packages? And if, like me, if you save your charity shop haul to open up at a later time, it's always a bit of a surprise. You never quite remember what you bought. So this is another plate in the style of the Asiatic pheasant. And I won't be adding this plate to my crockery stash. I've bought it to hang on the wall. I picked up this next little dish a few weeks ago. It cost me £2.50. I just cannot resist a flower frog, especially when it comes with its container. Do you remember I showed you the clear glass flower frog from the Cat's Protection earlier on in the video? And you can see it's got a little ridge around the edge, and that's where it rests into its purpose-designed pot. So it's nice to have a complete set. I rather like this fresh green. I think I'll be using that in the springtime. And I haven't just got one in green, I've got one in the amber glass too. I particularly love this shade of amber glass. It's got more of an orange tint to it, looks much more vibrant. And the flower frog in this vase is a slightly different design, although I do have another one of these in my collection. So it's a circular disc with one large hole and the smaller holes around the edge, so you could put it inside another container. It's quite nice having these two historic pieces from flower arranging of yesteryear. Well, thank you so much for joining me on today's charity shop thrifting outing. And don't forget to let me know in the comments which was the favourite item that I have bought, or perhaps you've spotted something on the shelves that I left behind and I should look out for next time. And if you love charity shopping, crafting and flower arranging, why not post a picture of your latest finds and makes in my free Facebook group, Flowers Start World. You'll find a link to that in the notes underneath this video. And talking about joining things, I also have a membership group here on YouTube. And for those of you who are members of my group, I've got some bonus footage for you showing what else we did when we went away for the weekend down to Hythe. And that's included a trip to Dungeness to look at the famous Derek Jarman's garden, and also a trip up the 196 steps of Dungeness Lighthouse. That's all from me for now, and I'll see you again next time.